The day 3 of the Gaza ceasefire comes with its complications. To start with, Israel's military chief is set to resign over the October 7th attack. In a letter to Prime Minister as well as the Defence Minister, Lieutenant General Herzi Halevi said, as a result of my responsibility for the IDF's failure on October the 7th, and at a time when the military has recorded exceptional achievements in restoring Israel's defence and strength, I wish to conclude my tenure on March the 6th, 2025. This comes when he is working on January the 30th deadline to complete the internal military probes into the failure to prevent the attack. Prime Minister Netanyahu spoke with Halevi and thanked him for his service in the IDF. Meanwhile, Israel continues its offences in Gaza. At least 10 Palestinians have been killed and many wounded in a military raid in the occupied West Bank in the city of Jenin. Dozens have also been arrested by the Israeli army. Reacting to the updates of the war, US President Donald Trump's UN ambassador pick, Elise Stefanik, says Israel has a biblical right to the occupied West Bank. Nevertheless, discussions for a permanent end to the war are under the agreement meant to begin on February the 4th. We will continue our discussion on this. We are joined by two guests, Lev Aran, former coordinator of Israel-India Parliamentary Friendship League, joining us from in Israel, and AK Pasha, an international affairs expert. Thank you very much, both of you, for joining us. Lev Aran, I wanted to get more about this resignation of this IDF chief. What are the key reasons behind his resignation, and why now, so long after these October 7th attacks?
We all expected that Halevi will resign because it was his responsibility on October 7th. And not for a single moment he denied that he was the chief of staff, he was the army chief. It was his responsibility to protect the villages and cities next to the Gaza border. So it is not a surprise that he resigned. It is not a surprise that he took responsibility. It is a bit of a surprise that in a way the Netanyahu government still think that the responsibility is only on the army, that the responsibility stops with the army, and the politicians, prime minister, defense minister, and so on, they should not take responsibility. So for the let's say last half a year, there was an open feud between the army and the government. As far as the army is concerned, also the paradigm of Netanyahu was part of the failure, while as far as Netanyahu is concerned, it is a purely failure of the chief of staff and the army.
Professor AK Pasha, I want to move on to you. How could this resignation influence the relationship between the military and the Israeli government? Also, is there a chance of us seeing some different tactics from the IDF after his resignation?
You see, the resignation of the army chief, it was in the making. It was widely speculated quite some time back. But because Prime Minister Netanyahu prolonged the war or invasion of Gaza, he was duty bound to carry out, especially questions were raised after the defense minister's resignation, General Gallant. Although he has accepted his responsibility in the October 7th Hamas attack, which is well known of his stand from the very beginning. But during his announcement, what is significant is he has called for a thorough inquiry from an external agency, which means he doesn't have much faith in what Prime Minister Netanyahu may do because of the differences on the issue of releasing hostages, on the issue of defeating Hamas and extending the war to Lebanon. There were fundamental differences between the Prime Minister and the army chief. So I'm not surprised that he is now calling for an independent external inquiry into the lapse on October 7th, although he has accepted responsibility. So this is very significant because fair play demands that there were many decisions taken by Netanyahu in the initial phase, without taking the army into confidence, as far as shifting the venue of the music festival, which became the target of Hamas attack as soon as they crossed into Israel, and also asking residents, mayors in the neighborhood to hand over their weapons to the military, and also very little security at the military cantonments surrounding Gaza, which was easy target for the Hamas. So all these question marks are there, which only an external impartial probe will be able to see whether there is a political culpability or the military was handicapped by this manipulation, which he is hinting to by the political leadership. So it is the first time that an army chief has called for an external inquiry, because all other previous inquiries, whether it is 73 war or the 82 invasion of Lebanon, all these were internal committees, and no chief of Israeli army had dared to demand an external inquiry. So this has international ramification, whether the UN will be there or the ICJ or even ICC. So this leaves room for the tense relations between the military and the political leadership, which was continuing the war for its own narrow political aims, which led to serious disaffection in the military, because there was virtually revolt in the military. Many soldiers refused to serve, who were sent 3-4 times to the same area to neutralize Hamas. So in that way, it was a daunting task.
Forgive my interruption. We don't have much time left. I just wanted to ask Levaran one more question. I wanted to ask about this Iron Wall operation in the city of Jenin in the West Bank. What was its strategic aim, and does this not is this not affecting the ceasefire in a negative way?
Okay, first of all, only to correct Professor Pasha, in both 73 war and 82 war, the committees were external, and Ariel Sharon was booted out from his position as a defense minister. Now about Jenin. In a way, Israel hoped that the Palestinian Authority will be more successful in Jenin, and the jihadic forces in Jenin will lose the battle against the Palestinian Authority. What we saw last week, that there was a ceasefire between the Palestinian Authority and the local guerrillas in Jenin, and the only thing that the guerrillas promised the Palestinian Authority, they promised not to steal official cars of the Palestinian Authority, and also not to attack officials and bureaucrats of the Palestinian Authority. So in a way, Israel feels that that the attack on Israel is still legitimate as far as the Palestinian Authority is concerned. So in this sense, what we see now is to try to solve the problem of Jenin, which in a way is an unruly place. Nobody rules it. And Israel hopes that after, let's say, 1 week or a fortnight, we will see much less power of the guerrillas inside Jenin.
Thank you very much, both Lev Aran and Professor A.K. Pasha, for joining us.